Hello folks, welcome to my YouTube channel, Watercolor Impressions. It's first winter, first snow last week in Toronto on Wednesday, and it was pretty nice. The whole city looked magical. Before you go, hit the subscribe button so you guys can get weekly video updates from our channel. And let's get started, guys. As always, I'll provide the drawing template. Check my video description to download it and you can follow with me. I've done a lot of tutorials on how to drawing and start focusing on the bigger shapes and look for the medium shapes and smaller shapes. And when you do this, constantly compare with other shapes so it's easier for you to understand the proportions and go from there. So now I'm going to start with my first wash. For the first wash, if you see the reference, the whole scene is a little bit of warmer in the sky. It's really hard to see, but if you go outside you can see the warmer tone. But as it comes down, I'm going to cool my wash. So the reason being I'm cooling the wash is to things in cooler tones go in distance, the warmer tones come in the front. So I'm going to connect the shape, and I'm also leaving some highlights here and there since it's a snow scene, and it also sits pretty well if you leave some highlights here and there, and it also gives an impression of snow in our painting. And you can see I'm also, the one thing you can keep in mind is that when you do this, do it as quick as possible and as confident as possible. I've been painting for a long time. This one thing that changed my work, and the painting looked really good when I do confident strokes in my painting. So that is really important, and don't even think about it. When you want to make a stroke, just do it and just leave it as it is. Even if you make a mistake, it's better to leave it than fixing it. So you can see I also put on the first wash for the houses, which is on the left hand side. So now I'm going to start with the background. For the background, I'm going to use a lot of purple and a lot of blue in it, and it looks quite darker now. And I'm also rubbing off some of the paint using my brush because I want to go this building as far as I can, because it shouldn't be sitting where our midground is. So I'm just going to connect the shape, and while connecting the shape is really imperative in any kind of painting you do. And you can see I took that shape and I blended on my background. On the right hand side, I'm just going to leave it black, so it kind of gives a L composition for us, and it also gives really good for a viewer or someone seeing this painting. So I connect the shape in the background. So now I'm going to start at the midground building, and as you can see I'm just doing my first wash, and I'm just making sure where the tone sits. Even though you can see the background building looks the value is darker than the midground building. You can see that's a stroke I was talking about, quick and confident stroke. And you can see I'm also painting in such a hurry because I don't want that wash to get dry. Being said that, I'm also painting in 5 times faster. I sped up the video so I can give as much as information I can. So before it's slowing down, I'm just going to put a dark down wash. I don't sit and add a lot of details in my midground or background, because when you see this painting from far, you won't see the midground or the background. The things you have to be really detailed and give a lot of importance are things on the foreground or which connected to the foreground. For example, this building, this house which is sitting there, I'm also connecting that shape from the midground building to the foreground building. And you can see in a reference, if you see it, it kind of looked a little bit dull on the roof, but I'm going to leave it white because that gives a really good contrast for the snow. And once we finish the painting, you can see, you know, the whole eye goes to the streetcar and the white parts in the sea. And you can see this thing I had mentioned earlier, the cool things go far and the warmer tones come in the front. That's why I made the house, which is sitting in the foreground, to be a warmer tone. For that, I'm using burnt umber, a little bit of amber in it, and you can also add a little bit of French Ultramarine blue for the pigment consistency. And I did add some trees there just to kill some white snow on the roof. So now I'm going to focus on the background cars, but I'm trying to keep this cars as simple as possible. I don't want to add that many details. And now I'm focusing on the bus. So this is really good thing about Toronto. They have the streetcars and the buses have red tones. That also gives a really good compliment to any kind of painting I do. If you see my paintings, all the paintings always have a little bit of streetcar or bus. And I'm starting with the streetcar, and I'm making sure that leaving some islets for the snow. Being said that, you could see I left some white bits at the top of the streetcar. And I'm going to throw some water at the top, so it kind of gives that little bit transition. Being said that, make sure to leave some colors here and there, white bits here and there, so it kind of shows that there's accumulation of snow on the streetcar. And you can see clearly in the reference, and the front part of the streetcar have a lot of snow, and the top part as well. And I also connected the shadows at the bottom of the streetcar. And now I'm adding some white bits on the top. And if I leave it white, and it's going to create a lot of contrast, so I want to make sure that there's a little bit of grayish in my white tones. And you can see in the reference, the whole scene looks grayish. As a painter, you have to create a painting which attracts your viewers and which also shows a lot of mood and atmosphere in it. And if you paint it as it is, it's going to look boring. So that's why I kind of like mixed a lot of colors in it. And you can see there's a lot of warmth and cool in our scene. For the figures, I want to make sure that I don't want to take that much details from our painting. So I kept the figure as impressionistic as possible. At the front, the foreground, I want to make sure that I'm adding a little bit of darker tone in it, so it comes in the front in our painting. So now I should have added this earlier, but I forget to do it. The cranes at the background, but when I do it, I want to make sure that I keep it like really loose, because I don't want to add a lot of details since it's in the background. So the foreground car, which is really important, because I want to make sure that it also I can get as dark as I can, because it have to come in the front. And I'm also glazing over another pass on my figures, so I want to make sure that they are not loose, they are stiff. So quickly we just blocked in a lot of our major washes. Now it's a matter of adding a little bit of details here and there, and we can call this painting done. So in watercolors, it's sometimes it's really hard to leave some of the highlights. So sometimes I use Chinese white or white gouache, and it's up to artist preference to bring back some of the highlights. And these white bits are some of the things which brings your the final step, which brings your painting alive. And whenever you paint in watercolors, you don't start with white bits. You start with a lighter wash, and you slowly build up, and you save the white bits for the end. And you can also leave some highlights if you plan it properly. And now I'm adding some tail lights for our car as well as for our bus, which is in there, and which also have a little bit of interesting composition elements in our painting. And that's it, folks. And now it's your turn. Take my drawing template and reference, and let's see what you can come up with. Watercolor paper desperately needs the tape because it shows your painting how it's going to look like once it's framed, and it also shows the composition a little bit better, and it also gives this finished look in our painting. And it looks simple, and it looks sophisticated, and the atmosphere. Thanks again for watching this Winter Cityscape video tutorial with me. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section. If you want me to cover any of the subjects in watercolors, write me at watercolorimpressions@gmail.com or comment below. Before you go, hit the subscribe button so you guys can get weekly video updates from our channel. And please to share with your friends and family. And good luck with your painting, folks.